Hello, welcome to the MeetRx podcast. I'm Tracy with MeetRx. I'm a MeetRx coach. I'm here today with Eric. Hi, Eric.
How's it going? How are you?
Great. It's going great. And thank you so much for coming to share your success story. Can you,
Thank you.
You're welcome. Can you begin by telling me what was your diet like and life like before you came to a meat-based diet?
Yeah, so really like I've explained before, but I love telling it. It's like it started at an early age. I'd been a pretty heavy set kid most of my life, and just eating the standard American diet, carb heavy stuff, lots of meat, protein, I always grew up eating lots of meat as well, but the carbs were obviously big as well. At 12, once I got into junior high school, I hit 205 pounds. That was so that from the get go, like I've said, I've been a pretty heavy set kid, and yeah, and that's basically what the diet was like. Just carb food, real high, rich in carbs, and my parents didn't know better though either. So they they were just following the guidelines and giving us the foods and doing what they could. I don't think most of us are informed on this nutrition stuff and what actually works for us. So yeah, I don't necessarily blame them, but it's it kind of screwed me. When a 12-year-old should never be 200 pounds. And then I think that's where a lot of other problems kicked in. Started the depression, and which led to an IV drug use problem that I had as well. So that went for a long time. So yeah.
Wow, yeah, that sounds like it really had a huge effect on your life.
Yes, it does. And and I think a lot of it came from troubles at home as well. Parents splitting at that. I think it's a combination of things. Obviously with the bad dieting, and then you're a 12-year-old kid and your parents separate, and that does a lot of things as well, I'm sure. And yeah, it was a recipe for disaster for so long.
Mm, yeah. So how did you find out, like at what age, or how did you find out about the meat-based diet, or did you eat other diets between your time you were like 12 until you came to a meat-based diet?
Um, so no, not really. A few years, maybe back in 2013, um, I got interested in this. I watched I believe it was Cowspiracy documentary on Netflix, and from there, I tried to go like plant based, and for as long as I could, and that lasted maybe a month, if that. I don't even know that I got a whole month in, but really no other diets. I like I said, it's been basically the standard American diet my whole life, and then back in 2018, when I got off of the off all the opiates I was on. I got clean June 23rd of 2018, and I was watching Dr. Jordan Peterson on the Joe Rogan podcast, and that day I seen him talking about his experience with the carnivore diet, and from there I said, oh, wow, I said, this guy's eating meat. That's it. Like, he's not eating nothing else, and he looks great. He's thin and looks healthy. And me getting off of the opiates, I was ready for a lifestyle change. Like I said, this had been my life before for 13 years, and so I was definitely looking for something new. And I was like, well, I'm the heaviest I've ever been as well. I'm 267 pounds. I'm unhealthy. I feel like crap every day. I said, I've never had a diet, so let's go ahead and give it a shot. Let's just kind of, we'll just see what happens. And it wasn't really even nothing that I had planned, like, oh, this is set in stone. Like, it was just like, oh, I'm going to just try and eat some meat for a little while and see how it goes. And within the first few weeks, I had dropped a lot of bloating weight, a lot of water weight. I noticed immediately, like I was like, whoa, 10 pounds, in the first maybe 2 weeks that it came off of me. I was like, oh wow. I was like, okay, well I don't feel bloated anymore. Just after a few weeks, I was like, I don't feel so bad. And I just kept giving it a go. I ate nose to tail basically too. I was like, oh, I'm gonna get it all. I'll try the, you know, organs. I'll try it all, everything, and I did. And over time, I just kind of gravitated more towards the beef and eggs and bacon, and that's basically like where I'm at today. Like I don't really eat anything else, any other. Every once in a while I have some chicken wings. I do like chicken wings, but like really, it's been about 90%, 95% beef and eggs and some bacon. So it's been
Yeah.
awesome. It's been awesome.
Oh, great. So you were saying that you had opiate drugs. Was it IV use? Did you tell me?
Yeah, so I really didn't have a. My preference was heroin was the drug I was using at first, but over time I had used all of the wide variety of drugs. I was putting through IV use, and it was basically the opiates first. You can't function without the opiates, and then so it was like I had to get the opiates in me first to be able to even get out of bed, and then it was from there. It was just whatever whatever came to me or whatever anybody was doing. So it it definitely took a toll for a lot of years. I like I said, I'm reborn. I've never known a different lifestyle. This is all new. I actually have I have hormones that are like trying to balance out now. I have, my feelings are like just sometimes they get out of whack. But I know that it's like, hey, I'm just everything's coming back to me. So it's wild.
Yeah, you seem real positive, and so I'm sure that was very devastating to your life to be
Yes.
overweight and to be on the drugs and stuff.
Oh yeah. It wasn't something I was totally conscious of with my weight necessarily because I was, it was the drugs that everybody was, around me was worried about, and after I kicked that and even got on this diet for a while, I was told that, hey, you're fine, and what do you like? Why are you trying to eat all meat? You don't need it. And even when I lost all this weight, like I'd had family members telling me, hey man, you're looking kind of small, and I'm like, well, what do you want me to be? Do you want me to be over 200 pounds again? It's like I don't. What do you want me to do? It's like I feel amazing though, and I go off of really how I feel. I don't necessarily try to look at blood work. I've had blood work done for the first year. I monitored all that. Everything's still good. I have a CAC score of 0 still, and cholesterol's all good. So it's like I don't necessarily follow that stuff anymore. I just kind of like, hey, I feel great every day. I wake up and I'm actually awake. It doesn't take me 20 minutes to get out of my bed. I'm like up and in the shower within minutes, and it's all good now. Yeah.
Awesome. So you've been a carnivore for like over 2 years.
Yeah, it's since July 1st of 18, so it's been about 24, 23 months, 22 months maybe, I don't know.
Yeah,
Somewhere around there, 20 months, 21.
yeah, you've been one for quite a while. So that is really cool. How long did it take you to like lose your weight, and how much did you lose?
So when I first started, within the first few like months, I had dropped, I think by, what was that, started in July. I think in December, I was from 260 to about 230, 225. And then I started actually practicing, some intermittent fasting here and there. I was trying to go 1 meal a day because obviously I'm still trying to shed all this weight off me. So I'm like, well, okay, I'm losing weight, but let's just keep going. I want to find, I found this fasting techniques, and so I started doing that, eating the 1 meal a day and trying to go 20, 24 hours without eating, and that helped a lot as well. I think I was down to about 190 in late January of 2019, and that's when I first got in the gym too. Like after that, because I gave myself time. I said I don't want to go into the gym and try and just kill myself. Especially with changing up this diet. I didn't want to. I just wanted to give it some time. So after I did that, lost most of the weight, started to feel agile enough to move around better. I said, all right, well, I'm gonna go get in the gym now and shed all this fat, and shed some of the loose skin, and it helped. I got rid of all the most of the loose skin I had from just fasting, lots of gym, and eating right. So yeah.
That's great. That's great. You look great. You look really young, and I'm so thrilled whenever I interview somebody that's really young and they were able to find the proper human diet, is what I call it.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely. I wish I honestly would have found it at a younger age, but I know I'm still under 30, and it's like, hey, I know I got plenty of time, and I think everybody does really. It's never too late to really change up your life, change that lifestyle up. We have those emotional ties to food. We're so caught up in the mouth pleasure of just I need my Coke, or I need my candy bar, at least my soda a day. And it's like, do you though? Do you? Or not really. So yeah.
Yeah, that's true. So I know you lost weight, like almost 100 pounds, and then you said you had less depression and anxiety.
Yeah, so I mean, I attribute to that a lot of that with was with my addiction. As I never really, like I said, I never really looked at what was causing my addiction or any of that. And a lot of people like to blame the drugs themselves, and I'm not necessarily advocating those drugs. Any of them are good. However, my issues were coming from underlying causes. Childhood upbringing, traumas, and just yeah, typical life stuff that people go through. And I think that's why a lot of us turn towards these addictions, whether that be drugs or food. Like I said, I was 200 pounds, so that was an addiction I wasn't even aware of. I was trying to suppress feelings at a 11, 12-year-old age with food, and before I knew it, I was 200 pounds. So it's like, and then the drugs obviously kicked in, and it's like, well, now I'm masking my pain with drugs, and not wanting to be present in my own life, and so it was just, yeah, it was definitely it's been a big life change, really, because like I said, I've never known this, basically, this, to be sober how I am today, and to have found this diet that's like made me feel like Superman every day. As much as I don't ever talk myself up like that, but I do. Like every day I feel so great. I get out, I have energy all day. I get things done and still have energy. And those are things I just never had.
Wow, amazing. So have you influenced anyone else to do carnivore?
Yeah, I have there's a couple people who have stuck with the diet for, on and off. There's been a few people in my family have tried to get on it. My mother actually is she eats a very low carb diet now. She used to, she's a two-time like cancer survivor. She was terminally ill first with colon cancer her first time, and beat that, and then came around a second time, and she wears the colostomy bag now, and she had to change up her lifestyle too. She was eating a terrible diet, and she also was dealing with an alcohol issue that she had started once my parents split. So it was like, it was all new to her as well. She had never even used substances herself her entire life until they split up, and then she became a heavy drinker, and before you knew it, cancer had hit her. And yeah, so like she got on the low carb diet. She went actually plant based for a while, which did help her. Anytime you're cutting out that processed junk and sugars, it will help, and it helped her in her case. And then I think over time she just started to get a little more educated about, hey, like, protein and fat is good as well. We don't just need those. Those plants may even be doing a little bit of harm. So she doesn't eat many plants anymore, but she, every once in a while she does. But she does eat a lot of protein and fat now, and it's she has, to be not to be too graphic, but she's got way less stool in her colostomy bag. She used to have so many issues with it, and it's, things are just, it's good. My stepdad, he does almost a full carnivore diet now. He saw the results from me because they live in California, and when I go visit them, yeah, they love the results they're seeing. So I kind of turned them on, and I got a brother who's diabetic as well, type 2 diabetic. Or actually, he may have went type 1 now. I think his pancreas shut off, so I think he's type 1 now. But I've tried to get him on, and he's on and off. He'll go, he's definitely lowered his medication, his dosage, so it's been pretty good. But I want to keep him steady on it, so he can, see the real results, and I know that he'll be dependent on insulin, with his pancreas never working again. But I know that type 1 diabetics can get much better as well on this diet. So I've, basically the immediate family, tried to get brothers, mom and dad, and I've talked to friends about it who say they want to try it, but I think they're just not ready yet. Some just aren't ready for it.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a personal journey. I mean, each
Yeah,
person goes through a journey, even if they went plant-based or whatever. That's part of
exactly.
their journey, and it's nice and wonderful that they finally find the most nutritious food that they can eat and meat,
Yeah.
and you helped them. That's cool.
Yes.
So on a daily basis or maybe a weekly basis, do you fast very often, or is it just mostly intermittent fasting? And what kind of foods do you eat basically on a daily basis?
So right now I'm not really fasting. I mean, I'm fasting naturally. I'm not necessarily trying, but I'm probably going 18 to 20 hours, sometimes I'll get 2 meals in a day, or I'll get a meal in and then a snack a little bit, a little while after, eat some string cheese, something, whatever. But mainly my foods that I'm eating daily are, like I said, beef and eggs and bacon. Most of the days I'll just cook me up a steak or some type of beef, and if I'm feeling it, I'll throw a few eggs in there on top of it. And then some days I'll eat 15 eggs with a bunch of butter, and just to I like to play around with it. I like to just see how it feels. I like to see what's working best. And what I have found is that those three foods, bacon, beef and eggs with the butter, is working tremendous. Not that any of these other foods didn't work, I feel best and I perform better with these foods. So, and the salt, of course, obviously you need your salt. So, obviously Dr. ShawnBaker turned me on to the Redmond's real salt that I always see him using. And Redmond's actually here in Utah anyway, so we got that salt all over.
Yeah,
So
that's great. So I appreciate you coming and sharing your story, Eric. It's really
yeah,
wonderful.
I appreciate you. It's been awesome. I'm glad to get out there and share my story with the carnivore community, because I think most people can they can learn a lot, and find out, hey, what works for me. And it's nothing to give it a try, man. I tell people, hey, give it 30 days if they're interested. I don't ever push it on anybody. I've never tried to push this diet on anybody. But when they're interested, I'm like, hey, give it 30 days. It's a month. It's a month out of a calendar, like, to literally try to just do it. If you don't, I understand. But it's I think most people will find out soon what the real diet is.
Yeah, that's true. Did you have a lot of issues in the beginning? A lot of people are looking at this and they don't know if there's going to be bad things that happen, or just
Yeah, well, when I first started, I was like, I heard that, I was reading so much into it, and was like, okay, fat is the focus, and I definitely went all out on the fat at first, too much, and obviously that, the the bathroom was calling me nonstop for a little while, I was kind of thinking, I was like, hey, maybe you know, that's just everything just kind of working its way out. But I did realize I was eating too much fat at first. I was eating, tons of butter, tons of ribeye steak, eating extra fat, and that's, yeah, and I think it just kind of messed up the insides a little bit, but overall I felt pretty fine. I knew to keep my salt intake pretty high, to keep that magnesium, potassium in me, all that stuff, to prevent headaches or whatever. So I didn't have too much other than the bathroom thing that kind
Yeah.
of went on for the first month. But after that, I picked up and it was just fine.
Okay. Did you include liver or any kind of organ meats?
I did it first. I did try liver for the first month or so. I tried to I diced it up with my ground beef here and there, and it was okay. It wasn't necessarily, it wasn't bad. It just wasn't something that my appetite was always calling for. I didn't want to like force myself to be like, hey, all right, I'll just go get some. It's like, well, if like I said, if I don't need it, I mean, and like I said, who knows? Maybe over time
Mhm.
something may arise where I may need some organ meat again or something to get an extra a vitamin. But right now I feel amazing, and that's
Yeah.
and that's really what I go off.
Well, Eric, you look amazing. You look so glowing and happy and
Yes.
strong. So that's
Yes, thank you
awesome.
so much. I appreciate it. It's been a life changer. I'm in a new body, new lifestyle. It's given me the opportunity to be the best father to my son. I have a son who's 4. He's the reason I obviously got off of the IV drugs in 2016 when he was born, and then I got into a methadone program for close to 2 years, and then June 23rd is 2018 is when I quit. And then July 1st, Carnivore called my name. So, yeah.
Awesome. Awesome. That's wonderful. That's great. I love to hear that now that you can be a better father, you're saying. So that's
Oh, yeah.
awesome.
It's awesome. Great. It's great stuff.
Thank you so much for sharing your story, Eric, and taking the time out to come and tell other people your experience, because it just uplifts people so much to hear these stories, because they're trying it out themselves and they want to learn more, and you have a lot to share, and it's a wonderful thing. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. I hope to inspire more. That's that's my goal now, is to give back. I've taken and taken my whole life, so it's like I might as well try and give back a little bit, preach a little knowledge to some of these people who are struggling. So I found what works, so maybe it can work for others.
Yeah, awesome. I'll see you around the community then. Thanks again.
Awesome. Thank you so much. You have a good day.
You too, Eric.
Alrighty.
Bye
Bye.
bye.